Welcome back to One Non-Blonde, and I've got Andre here again. How are you doing this week?
This week is so young that I don't know, but
I know, we missed a date last week, and I
yes, and
apologize.
they make
And
up
so
for
now
it.
it's a fresh day and it's a fresh week. We're starting on a Monday, which we never do.
And
So this
you
is
know the
exciting.
positive thing about that, we have two dates this week.
That's right.
You
That's
see,
exactly.
so no, I'm doing good, and it's summer, it's good, and it's warm, it's good. We don't have a lot of rain, that is not so good. But put it this way, in how I see my day, it is not every day the same. Even I create stability, even I create routines. They become part of me, and I can rely on that because it's part of me and the relationship I have with me. Okay. And that's what I want to talk today about it. People and their relationship with themselves, which includes relationships also on the outside of them, at work, friends, family, and everything. Because our relationship with ourselves shows, even if we don't know.
Hmm.
It is part of a few puzzle pieces in our personal billboard. And if they don't match, people say, what's going on? And we don't know. So they say, well, how do I establish a relationship with myself? I have a good relationship with myself. I like myself. That is awesome. But saying you're liking yourself and really doing it and denying that you have little doubts at moments, wherever they come from. We had in the past, it can come from fear, it can come from doubts. And being aware of that, that all is a contributor to our relationship we have with ourselves. So I want to make it simple. How we're going to start renewing the relationship to ourselves. We're going to go back to the basics. And it might sound silly to some people, what I do now, but it works. You are Kim, right?
Hmm.
You are a woman. You are a grown up. You raise a family. You have grandchildren. You do a job and you do a podcast. So these are basics. So, how you establish a relationship with yourself, Kim? By seeing those basics and say, how do I feel from Kim to the woman? And how does Kim feel about the woman Kim? Honestly feel about it. And I heard in the past people saying, oh, I'm aware of this, I'm aware of this, I'm aware of this. And I say, okay, let's go back. Why are you thinking that the whole world is dishonest and against you? The whole world. Now I'm not talking about the whole world because I don't know the whole world, but excuses. And these excuses already show there is no real relationship with themselves. If I am in a relationship with myself, and you say, why do you think the whole world is bad? I say, I don't think it always. I think it right now because I have a bad day.
Hmm.
I have a bad day. I don't think it always. I think it's the moment. My relationship to me is admitting I have a bad day. But I have good days too, like we all have.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, thanks God. And 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 we are really don't realize what happened with us. Client. Well, I actually feel good. I have my life in order. I have money. I have a house. My business is going well. But things are just not the way I want them to be. And here we start again the relationship to ourselves. We lose the relationship to ourselves if we want to control everything our way. And that is when we mislead ourselves. Client said, well, I think it should not be this way because I don't feel comfortable with it. I agree with her, it should feel comfortable, but make sure why it doesn't feel comfortable. Well, because of that and that and that. I don't want to go into details because it's about a client, but when we talked about in our session for a half an hour, we found out that it's an obvious thing which is in front of that client. It is not really the cause of it. The cause was the disconnection from the discomfort way, way back. Came from a not happy relationship. And we say, we get out of the relationship and we are fine. Misconception. After the relationship, what is the relationship with myself? Do I blame only other people? Do I blame my mother-in-law? Do I blame my brother-in-law? Do I blame my sister? Whoever. We're looking for myself that I created pattern that put me emotionally in a position where I felt uncomfortable emotionally at the moment. And I make this emotional moment decision, not thinking about the relationship with myself, that I really want stability. And if I make a decision, it doesn't support my stability, I become more unstable without even knowing it. So it shows that the relationship I have with myself, or should have with myself, becomes a bigger and bigger gap because of the denial. The relationship to ourselves is simple. Like I said, and I'm Andre, I'm a male, I'm a grown-up as well. I work with people, I love what I do. In my private relationships, I have friends, I cherish them, they cherish me. What is the relationship with myself? I'm comfortable with myself. People say, well, when life happens to you, how you handle that? I say, I handle it in my way. You can't handle it in my way. You cannot. And you cannot analyze how I handle it, because first of all, I know about the human factor more than you do. That's why I do what I do. If you would have my knowledge, you would do the same thing I do. If it would be so easy, everybody would do it. Okay. And then they start becoming defensive. What does defensiveness show?
I think it
You
shows
push the
sometimes,
button.
yeah, it doesn't
You push
allow
the
us to,
button.
push the button, and it allows you to not be honest with yourself, because
Well, I don't want to go so far and say
yeah.
it is dishonest.
But maybe you're trying to deflect it or send it somewhere else. So denial.
Denial. It is denial. And you think when you reflect your own problem on other people and say they have the problem, that the problem disappears from you. So if you try that, it shows you are really a little bit disconnected from yourself, because you need solutions for you. If the other person needs a solution, they need to find one too. And that's why when I work with my clients, I always go not what's bothering them at the moment. Like we had a little chat before we started this podcast. You told me about an incident this morning. Okay.
Yes.
So if you would say my day didn't start good because of that, that is a possibility. But it also can be a trigger from something that happens over and over again before. So we don't have to overthink. We just have to say, well, that was just the tip of the iceberg why I tipped today or why I don't feel good today. But we have to connect with ourselves and build a relationship with ourselves. What is my relationship with myself or with yourself, with people? See a relationship in different situations, how you feel about yourself. Not how you feel, it's a different. How you feel about yourself is different than how you feel. I can feel good, but not feel good about myself.
Yeah.
It's two different things.
Yeah.
I give you a very simple example. I can get up in the morning and I feel great. I feel really great. And I just throw some clothes on, and when I look at the mirror, I look like the harlequin from the circus in the corner. So I still feel good, but not good about myself because what I visually did. So those are the two different things. I can feel great in the morning and eat a spoiled egg. Okay. So I don't feel good about myself because my stomach is aching, but I still feel good, energized for the day. Just to explain the big difference about how I feel and how I feel about myself. And feeling
Mm-hmm.
about ourselves, that is when we go into our interpersonal relationship with ourselves. People make the mistake. They say, okay, I have to think about myself. And then they start beating down on themselves. That is not a relationship either. It is a relationship. But then the relationship with yourself becomes abusive. You abuse yourself,
Yeah, it's
beating down on
toxic.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Why did I do this? And I should have done this. And shoulda, woulda, but, and if, done is done. If I call your name, it's done. I can say, I'm sorry, it just slipped out because I'm crazy today. I can fix it. But when it's out, it's out. And there is no reason to beat down on us. And, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Well, I'm so tired of hearing I'm sorry. I'm tired of it. The real sorry is change your behavior. That is the real story. If you always, there's people there very vocal. Everything they say, it's very loud and very intense. You have to do that and listen to that, and and you go, wow. Do these people have a real relationship with themselves? Why do they have to be so forceful? Because part of our relationship with ourselves has to do also with self-esteem and self-confidence. If I'm a confident person, I will argue. Do I have to raise my voice? No. Should I raise my voice? Sometimes you have to get attention, but
Mm-hmm.
it means I'd say, Kim, listen to me, and then I can go down again. It just, I think raising the voice for a couple seconds is just getting attention.
Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah.
And the big difference is also sometimes you need to raise your voice even you're not mad to get this attention. There's people that have the habit to talk over you. There, every sentence you say, they interrupt. You cannot finish a sentence, and you have to raise your voice and say, "Please let me finish now," and then you can lower your voice again. Okay, that is different than going on in a rant for an hour or longer. Some people here, what relationship do you have with yourself? Very obvious, very angry relationship. No, I'm angry with people. No, 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 no. We
Yeah.
can get upset with people. We can get disappointed with people. It doesn't mean we have to hate them. If I dislike something, why should I interrupt the relationship I have with myself and go in a hate modus? Because it would interrupt the relationship with myself. I would feel uncomfortable. I would not feel myself. So I would disturb the relationship I have with myself to going into a not needed rant, hate modus, or whatever. And when we look in social media, in all social medias, if TikTok or whatever, we hear more and more that people try to be motivators. And it's so obvious that they cheer themselves up, which is good. It is nothing bad. But do they resolve the gap in the relationship they have with themselves? Do they resolve the issues? I have a wonderful mother. She has everything in order. She's a mature lady in her late 60s. And she found out that, she loves her daughter loves her, but there is no real connection.
Yeah.
So looking closer is that the mother doesn't realize that she could disconnected the relationship with herself, not with her daughter. So the daughter, of course, became insecure and started disconnecting too. Fixing that is not a problem. If both connect with themselves again, they have a beautiful relationship they can have. Then they can connect. So talking about the relationship to ourselves has to do with the things we had already in prior podcasts with relationship with others. How do you respect a person? How do you see a person? It has to do how you see yourself. And I go in a little example here. If I do not know how to drive my own car, I should not get in another car and try to drive that.
I agree.
Okay. If I don't know how to ride my own horse, I shouldn't go on a strange horse.
Mm-hmm.
And that is with the relationship. If I don't know what real relationship I have with myself, with my inner self, with my emotional self, then I cannot expect a perfect relationship, perfect in parentheses, with
Yeah.
others, with my work, with my neighbors, with my friends. There will always be a disruption. And that has to do, again, the big thing, the relationship with yourself. If the relationship with yourself is that you are the center of the universe, you don't have a relationship because the universe doesn't have a center.
Yep.
So if it's all about you, most people, they have that relationship with themselves to compensate insecurities and the relationship with themselves, to talk a lot about themselves. It's a compensation. To become aware that they are there for themselves. And they always say, well, it's very, I have to laugh because I had a discussion a few days ago. I hate people that all the time talk about themselves, but when I was there and there and there, and I did this and this, and I met this and this person. Okay, may I
Really?
say something? Yeah, but just ignore you completely what you want to say, just carry on about what they dislike about people. People are definitely in denial of everything, and they're in pre-depression. Oh, who makes you the psychologist? Pre-depression, yes, it's very common, especially after the time. But there's a difference between that and sadness. There's sadness in some people. They lost a dog, a loved one. They broke up with somebody. There's a sadness. It doesn't have to do with pre-depression.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're sad, you pull back a few days, you regroup to get out of it. And that has also to do with the relationship with yourself. If you have a relationship with yourself, that has nothing to do that you cannot be sad about a circumstance or happy about a circumstance. If the happiness, and now we come to a very important point, if we polish and reestablish the relationship with ourselves, our internal natural happiness will increase. And we will not blame happiness on everybody because it is, I cannot hear it anymore. This person made me unhappy. This makes me not happy. This makes me happy. Man, if you're not happy, your happiness with material or new people will only last for a little while. You have to establish a relationship within yourself, with yourself, to align your natural happiness with everyday action. Very simple as that. And if you're in denial and afraid of changes, come on. What is a change? A change is a modification or a redirection.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get redirected. That's awesome because we are close into running into the end of a one-way street or in a cul-de-sac and have to turn
Mm-hmm.
around. So getting redirected to move on with a change is something extremely positive. Why are you afraid of? If you see a sign, road work ahead, and you drive on and you see a sign, bridge cannot be crossed, and you go on.
Gonna fall off the bridge. You're gonna die, possibly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what
Now,
people do when they internally die. But
yeah.
if you watch the sign and see detour, you get redirected. A detour is not always something negative.
Mm-hmm.
It means it prevents danger. And if you prevent danger, you don't need fear. So, and this relationship, when you have with yourself and the confidence, okay, there's a detour. So what? I'm not the only one I have to go the detour. But I'm the happy one I saw it. And I am, and here again, no sugarcoating, but it works. We have a lot of construction here. I had on a normal 20-minute drive, it took me almost 35 minutes. I had 3 detours because I had to open the street for something. And I was saying, well, another detour. And now all of a sudden, I saw a beautiful blooming tree I never noticed because it was in a street I never drove by.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Yeah.
The second thing is people started honking and getting all bent out of shape because side streets were blocked up, where normally it's residential area, and they detoured it through. And I said, well, I might be in a detour, but I'm ahead of all the guys behind me. That's a fact. That's no sugarcoating.
Mm-hmm.
No sugarcoating. It's a fact. Hey, there's guys behind me. We're all in that. Okay. What has this to do with relationship with oneself? Knowing that certain situations you cannot change, others you can change. A situation in traffic, on the airport, rain, weather, you cannot change, but you can change the relationship you have with yourself and therefore with others. Do I make sense today?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. In fact, it was funny because it's kind of, I was thinking about when you're talking about the detour, it's like you find things that you, like you said, the tree, and when we're detoured, we also discover maybe something new about ourselves and maybe, like you said, reestablish our relationship with ourselves because we were so focused on one road and realizing that we're just going to keep plugging along on a road that's not passable because it's not, you're not allowing yourself to be fully yourself and get to know yourself. And then I was thinking about, it was a movie I watched. It was a very strange movie, but it was kind of that situation where it's called Unhinged.
Oh yeah.
There was one scene that to me was like, so our conversations, because the young lady, she's late for work because she overslept. She didn't set her alarm. She's going through all these things and traffic's really bad. And she's like, oh, I just can't believe all this traffic. There's so many cars in the air. And her son, who was a young kid, like 10, 11 years old, goes, well, Mom, yes, there's a lot of cars, but you also overslept. You can't blame all those cars that were late because at the end of the day you overslept, and it's like you have to take that responsibility to know yourself and what you need to work on, and how to have this relationship with yourself, and to change the pattern.
Yeah, and then relationship with oneself has also to do with the confidence, and confidence is also how our communication is.
Hmm.
Our communications with others shows how we communicate with ourselves. If we have a doubt a lot about others, we have doubts about ourselves, even if we deny it. It was funny last week. I offered on Friday 2 hours on Facebook Messenger. People can ask me questions. Okay, a few people ask me questions, but there was somebody. What question should I ask you? Text, right?
Yeah.
But I can feel the aggression already.
Hmm.
And I say, you already asked me a question. It is a question. What question should I ask you is already a question.
Yeah.
So I knew from all the others, they wrote me and says, Andre, I would like to ask you this and this, or can you give me an answer for that or that? There was already, in this sentence was already the aggression of insecurity to pick a fight. What question should I ask you? And the you capitalized.
Yeah.
There was so much aggression in there. And I said, you already asked me a question. And the person deleted me, believe it or not.
I believe it. I believe it.
But that shows me very clearly that there was something there. It needed to come out. And the communication and the missing relationship to that person itself was building a huge roadblock to communicate and says, I have a hard time. How can I get out of that? And then I would ask, what is the hard time? And to go into a conversation which makes sense to the person who asked me the question. Because when I put this on Facebook, I want to make sense to people if I give answers. So I have to ask questions too. And most of the time, 2 hours were not enough. I could not answer everybody. And it's another thing too. So after this 2 hours, I just put this one computer away, not answered Messenger anymore. Some people, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, can I still ask a question? And I had to respond with no. Because I'm a bad person.
No.
There's a window.
Hmm.
If and it shows the relationship to oneself. I would have worked and could not made it in this 2 hours. My response would have been, I could not make it today. Are you opening up sometime soon again? I would answer yes and say, yes, I make some time again. And I will.
Hmm.
But can I? No, no, no. I said no, and we had the boundaries before. And also, people have to learn to communicate with themselves and says, well, I can ask a question. Do you come on again and do that again? Or can I ask a question now? It's a big difference. It's a big difference. And that shows also the relationship with themselves. And the center of the universe, which we are not. I would like
Hmm.
to continue next time a little bit with that, because I think part of the relationship, we have to go into self-esteem and how we build that up. How can we build our self-esteem up without being rude or arrogant? Because both is not self-esteem.
No.
And I would really continue doing that, because some people are not aware of it and you cannot blame them.
No, I agree.
But
I
we,
agree. Yeah.
and, you know, some people, they're dear friends forever, and all of a sudden they become very, I will not say firm, I will not say rude, but very awkward. And we just have to pull back. It is too much aggression, too much manipulation. We have to pull back then. And with manipulation, self-esteem, and all that good stuff, I really would like to address it for all our people out there next time, because a very important part of the time to come. Our changes are not over yet. By God, not. And if we are not aware of ourselves, we get lost. A lot of people got lost and they're finding slowly back. But just to tell you, you know, I'm always open for questions. People don't even sometimes have to wait until I open 2 or 3 hours when I have time to answer questions. They can send me a private message and says, you know, I have a question here or there. I will answer. I do that. Okay. So with that, any questions?
No, actually, I was listening because the more I think about it, it's like this is a great topic, and I know we're gonna wrap up, and that's why I'm excited, because I think this should be like a 2 or 3 more times, because I think especially as we're getting a little older, and at the beginning you kind of said, Kim, you're a woman and you're a mother. There's that point where the self-actualization of those are titles,
Yeah.
and and now I gotta find, like you said, find me again, because those roles,
No. Stop. Not find you, you get lost. Create yourself and create a relationship with you again.
yeah, that's exactly. I
Because
need to create it.
yeah, and the thing is, the big difference, I'm sorry when I interrupt you, but
No,
the
no.
big thing of finding is we walk around in ourselves and get lost in every angle. What we create, we have to control what we create. When we find, we have to look and we have to take what we find. If we create, we can create what we really need.
Which brings me to why we need to have these conversations, because see, I need to have these. That's why you're here. So that, because I think that's the thing, we're seeking something, and it's not like you said, it's not seeking, it's creating, and we have to rechange our verbs and our actions. And so thank you so much. So I am creating Kim at the age of 55 and I'm enjoying it.
Very
So
wonderful. And I wish everybody out there a great day, a great week. Look forward to continue this topic. You guys out there and you can in here, all be blessed.
you too, Andre. Talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to One Non Blonde.